Most people spend their entire lives looking for a door. That has never been locked. You feel it, don't you? That quiet, persistent hum of anxiety that follows you from the moment you wake up until the moment you close your eyes. It's a weight in the chest, a restlessness in the mind that tells you you're supposed to be somewhere else, doing something more, becoming someone better. You've been told that meaning is something you find, something you earn, something you achieve. But the more you achieve, the more the void seems to expand. The wisdom we are exploring today comes from a 16th century Chinese general and sage named Wang Yangming, who discovered, while facing death in a desolate cave, that the human heart already contains everything the universe has to offer. But you don't feel like you contain the universe, you feel like you're running out of time. Think about your morning. Before your feet even hit the floor, your hand reaches for your phone. In those first 60 seconds of consciousness, you are already investigating things. You check your emails to see if you are needed. You check social media to see if you are valued. You check the news to see if the world is still safe. In that 1 minute, you have already outsourced your peace to a glass screen. You have started your day by confirming that your worth depends on external data. This is the modern version of a spiritual sickness that has plagued humanity for millennia. The belief that the truth is out there, and we must hunt it down. You are a modern sleepwalker. You move through your day reacting to pings, notifications, and the demands of a world that wants to sell you a version of yourself you haven't yet bought. You are constantly investigating. You investigate your career, hoping the next title will finally provide a sense of permanent security. You investigate your social circle, carefully curating your words so that you aren't found out. You investigate your hobbies, turning even your leisure into a performance of productivity. But why is it that the more information you consume, the more confused you become? Why is it that the more you connect, the more isolated you feel? The problem isn't that you haven't found the right thing yet. The problem is the search itself. Think back to a specific moment of success in your life. Perhaps it was a graduation, a promotion, or the purchase of something you had wanted for years. Remember the drive home that night. For a few hours, the noise stopped. You felt full, but by the next Tuesday, the sensation was gone. The promotion became just a higher mountain of emails. The new car became just a way to sit in the same traffic. This is the failure of the investigation of things. It's like trying to quench your thirst by drinking salt water. The more you drink, the thirstier you get, until the thirst itself becomes your entire identity. You have realized a brutal truth. The world out there has no inherent meaning. A pile of gold has no value until a human mind decides it does. A sunset is just light hitting the atmosphere until a human heart decides it's beautiful. When you feel that your life is empty, it is not because your life lacks content. It is because you have severed the connection between your mind and the reality you inhabit. You have become a ghost in your own story, haunting a world of objects that cannot love you back. Imagine, for a moment, that your mind is a mirror. When a mirror is covered in thick grey dust, it cannot reflect the light. If you stand in front of it, you see nothing but a distorted shadow. You might think the mirror is broken. You might think the light is gone. You might even try to buy a new reflection by putting expensive things in front of the dust, hoping the sheer beauty of the objects will mask the blur. But no matter what you place there, the reflection remains dark. The dust is not bad luck. The dust is your anxiety. It is the layer of what-ifs that you pile onto every moment. Think of a social interaction. You're at a dinner, but you aren't really there. Half of your mind is investigating the facial expressions of the person across from you, trying to decode what they think of you. The other half is investigating the past, replaying a mistake you made 3 years ago. You are standing in front of the mirror, but all you can see is the dust of your own self-judgment. You don't need to find meaning. You need to polish the mirror. You have been taught to look outward. From the moment you were a child, you were rewarded for looking at the world, analyzing it and mastering it. You were told that if you understood the principles of the world, you would be happy. So you studied, you worked, you observed the bamboo of your own life, staring at it for days, weeks, years, waiting for it to tell you who you are. But the world has no voice. The world is a silent reflection of your own interior state. If you approach the world with a mind full of greed, the world looks like a battlefield of scarcity. If you approach it with a mind full of fear, the world looks like a labyrinth of threats. If you approach it with a mind that is empty, searching for a fill, the world will always look like a desert. The secret you were never supposed to know is this: the mind is the principle. What you are looking for is the one who is looking. Consider the dark night you are currently walking through. You might feel like you are in exile. You might feel like you've been sent to a desolate place in your life, a career that doesn't fit, a city that feels cold, or a relationship that has turned into a prison of silence. You're waiting for the circumstances to change so that you can finally start your life. When I move to that new city, you say, I'll be happy. When I get out of this job, I'll find my passion. But what if the exile is the gift? It is only when the external world stops giving us what we want that we are forced to look at what we actually have. It is only when the things we've been investigating prove to be hollow that we can finally turn our gaze inward. Think of a time when you were physically ill and forced to stay in bed for days. The world went on without you. The emails went unread. The social events happened without your presence. At first, the anxiety was unbearable, the fear of missing out, the fear of being forgotten. But after 48 hours, something shifted. The world didn't end. The silence became almost heavy. In that heaviness, you started to notice the light on the wall. You started to hear the sound of your own breathing. For a brief moment, you weren't a worker or a friend or a failure. You just were. You are terrified of that silence in your daily life. That's why you keep the podcasts playing while you clean. That's why you check your phone while you're waiting in line for coffee. You are afraid that if the noise stops, you will discover that there is nothing there. But ancient wisdom suggests the opposite. The silence is not a void, it is a source. If you could sit in a room, alone, with absolutely nothing, no status, no history, no future plans, who would you be? Most people cannot answer that. They describe themselves by their labels. I am a manager, I am a student, I am a failure, I am a success. But these are just more things. They are not you. They are the dust on the mirror. The anxiety you feel is the mirror trying to tell you that it's tired of reflecting lies. Your boredom is not a lack of interest. It is a sign that your soul is rejecting the superficial. It is a biological and spiritual protest against a life spent investigating things that don't matter. You aren't bored because there's nothing to do. You're bored because what you're doing isn't real. It's a performance. You are tired of playing the character you created to survive. Real meaning is not a destination you reach. It is a frequency you tune into. And that frequency is found in the unity of what you know and what you do. Let's look at a concrete example. The procrastination loop. You know you need to start that project. You know it will make you feel better to simply begin. But instead you sit on the couch, investigating the feeling of not wanting to do it. You read articles on how to be productive. You watch videos on how to overcome laziness. You are adding knowledge upon knowledge. But because you aren't acting, the knowledge is rotting inside you. Wang Yangming would say that you don't actually know the value of the work yet, because knowledge and action are one. If you say you know that exercise is good for you, but you never move your body, you don't know it. You only have a memory of someone else's words. Your anxiety thrives in this gap between your knowledge and your action. When you know you should move, but you stay still, the energy has nowhere to go. It turns inward. It becomes heat. It becomes pressure. It becomes the gnawing sensation that something is wrong. You call it stress. The ancients called it a severed mind. Think about the physical toll this takes. Your shoulders are tight, your jaw is clenched, your breath is shallow. This is the body's way of reflecting the fragmentation of the mind. You are trying to live in 3 places at once: the past where you messed up, the future where you might fail, and the present where you're trying to hide. But here is the only place where the mirror can be polished. You are looking for a grand purpose. You want a mission that will justify your existence. But purpose is found in the smallest, most mundane actions of the present moment, if those actions are performed with a clear mind. Imagine you are making a cup of tea. If you are making the tea while thinking about the argument you had yesterday, you are not making tea. You are making an argument. The tea is just a ghost. But if you focus entirely on the heat of the water, the scent of the leaves, and the movement of your hand, for those 60 seconds, there is no anxiety. There is no failure. There is only the unity of the mind and the act. This is what it means to live a life worth living. It is not about what you do. It is about the integrity with which you do it. We are so obsessed with the result of our lives that we have forgotten how to live the process. We treat the present moment like a dirty corridor we have to run through to get to a beautiful room in the future. But the corridor is all there is. If you cannot find peace in the corridor, you will not find it in the room. You think that by worrying about the future, you are preparing for it. Let's look at that closely. When has a night of tossing and turning ever actually improved your performance the next day? It hasn't. You are simply practicing anxiety. You are training your brain to be restless, and if you achieve your goals with a restless mind, you will not be happy. You will simply be a successful person who is still miserable. The cycle never ends until you decide to stop looking at the bamboo and start looking at the eyes that see the bamboo. Imagine if you stopped trying to get something from the world. Imagine if you approached your day with the understanding that you are already complete. This sounds like a fairy tale to the anxious mind. The anxious mind says, if I stop worrying, I'll lose my edge. I'll become lazy. Everything will fall apart. But look at the people you admire most. Are they the ones who are constantly frantic and fearful? Or are they the ones who operate from a place of deep, quiet certainty? The edge you think you gain from anxiety is actually a dullness. It's a waste of energy. Consider the man in the cave. When he carved his own coffin, he wasn't giving up on life. He was giving up on the illusions of life. He was saying to the universe, "You can have my body, you can have my reputation, you can have my future, but you cannot have my mind. My mind is mine to rectify." In that moment of total surrender, the anxiety vanished. Not because the situation changed. He was still in a cave, still in exile, still sick, but because he stopped fighting the reflection and started cleaning the mirror. The void was filled not by stuff, but by the realization that the observer and the observed are the same. You are the universe experiencing itself through a specific set of eyes. When you realize this, the investigation of things becomes a game, not a struggle. You work not because you need to become someone, but because you're expressing who you already are. You love not because you need to be filled, but because you are overflowing. But you aren't there yet. You are still standing in the middle of the room, holding your torch, looking for the sun. You are still trying to think your way out of a problem that was created by thinking. You are trying to use the same mind that created the anxiety to cure the anxiety. It's like trying to wash a window with a muddy rag. The harder you scrub, the worse it gets. In the parts of this journey that follow, we are going to tear down the walls of your mental prison. We are going to talk about the thieves that live inside your head, the voices that tell you you're not enough, the voices that tell you it's too late. We will look at how your very desires have become your jailers. We will explore the concept of the innate knowing, the liangji, that quiet, indestructible compass inside you that already knows the way, even when you're lost. You have felt it before. It's that split second of clarity you feel when you see someone in need, and you move to help them without thinking. It's that sense of rightness you feel when you finally tell the truth after a long lie. That is your true self. Everything else is just dust. But for today, for this hour, I want you to sit with one terrifying, beautiful thought. There is no meaning of life waiting for you in the future. There is no version of you 10 years from now who finally has it all figured out. There is only this. There is only the breath you are taking right now. There is only the sensation of your feet on the ground. There is only the mirror and the dust. Are you ready to stop adding more dust? Are you ready to admit that the things you've been pursuing, the likes, the numbers, the validation, are just shadows on the wall? The journey to the real meaning of life is not a journey forward. It is a journey back. Back to the original mind. Back to the clarity you had before the world told you who you were supposed to be. You don't need a map. You don't need a guide. You don't even need this script. You only need the courage to stop running. The cave is not a place of punishment. It is a place of birth. Think about the objects in the room around you right now. The chair, the lamp, the window. For a moment, stop investigating them for their use or their value. Just look at them. They exist. You exist. In this moment, there is no anxiety in the chair. There is no failure in the lamp. The suffering is entirely in your projection. In the next part, we will discuss how to identify the specific thieves that are stealing your peace. We will look at how your desires have become your jailers and how the very things you want are the things that are keeping you empty. We will learn how to catch the mind in the act of creating its own misery. But for now, just breathe. Realize that the person you've been searching for has been the one doing the searching all along. The light is already in the room. Stop looking for the sun and start being the sun. We will see you in the next part.